it's not cumulative. So there'll be 6 quizzes and a final exam. When we start with quizzes, we'll start the session with the quiz. You'll hand those back. We'll review the prior week's quiz, and then we'll go on to that week's session. Each quiz is worth 10 points. The final will be worth 40 points. Does that make sense to everybody? Do I need to give an example? Okay. So for each quiz, you will have 15 minutes to complete it. And like I said, every quiz is open book, open notes. The passing grade for every quiz and for the final exam is 80%. For the quizzes, if you do not achieve 80% the first time, you will be allowed 1 makeup quiz. And there will not be a makeup for the final. So the expectation is that in order to go on to be an effective orientation leader is that you're getting 80% or higher on each of these quizzes and on the final. Okay. So if you don't achieve the 80% on the makeup, then you'll have to keep the original grade. Once we have the quizzes to review, we'll take the quiz, the first quiz, 15 minutes, and then we'll review the next quiz. So I'm going to go back to this 15 minutes. Does that sound like a short amount of time for a quiz? Some nods? Yeah. There's a method to our madness. So the reason we're doing it like this is, and I'm going to show you an example of what a quiz is going to look like with your PowerPoint right next to it. So when you hear open book, open notes, I think it's easy to think, I got this. I don't need to review it. I'll just look through my notes. This will be easy. But the quizzes are designed in such a way that it's not necessarily going to follow the order of the presentation. And they're sort of designed like orientation. It's going to be fast. It's going to be a lot of pressure. Students are going to be coming at you, asking questions. And we need you to be able to be confident that you know where to find the answers. If you can't think of it right off the top of your head, you know where to refer to, or you know who to ask further questions to. So that's why we do it in an abbreviated time, so that when it comes time for orientation, you feel confident that you know where to find this information. Does that make sense? Good. Anything to add in the back? No? Okay. All right. Okay, so just as far as the information, just stay in good communication with your TIs. If some or most of you are having a hard time understanding a particular topic or a particular graduation requirement or whatever it is, be sure to let the TIs and or me know so that I can spend some extra time on it, maybe create a review. I'm here for the next however many weeks we're together for you guys. So if you're not understanding something, that's why I'm here, is to take the time to make sure you do understand it. So whatever I need to do to accommodate that, I'm willing to do. I just need to know about it. So again, there's a lot of information that we're putting out in a relatively short amount of time. So if you need clarification, just let us know. And of course, knowing that you have a quiz each week, we want you to come to these trainings prepared, just like you would a class. So being prepared means you've reviewed everything we've gone over the week before. You've asked questions if you needed to clarify something. Let's see. So each quiz is going to be made up of, in this order, true-false questions, multiple choice questions, and short answer questions. So if you want to refer to the second document, or the third document I provided, it's stapled. So the front of it is what an example of what a very short quiz looks like. And then on the second page is an example of a PowerPoint. So you're going to be given a PowerPoint every week. While we're going through the catalog, you're not going to be looking at those PowerPoints necessarily. So, for example, if you look at, I don't actually have one, so I'm going to look at yours. Oh, thank you. So if you look at the first slide on the PowerPoint example, you can see that it just talks about what we're talking about and gives you a page number, and then you have some places to take notes. So the theory is that's next to you, next to the catalog, so if you're needing to take notes, you take notes along with it. So you can kind of see, if you go back to the first, so like just for example, true, false, courses numbered between 100 and 200 level or upper division courses. If you're solely relying on the PowerPoint and not taking notes or not reviewing that information, it doesn't really tell you the answer, does it? So that's why taking those notes is going to be really important. Asking questions, asking if you need more of something, just let us know. Let the TIs know, and I can figure out how to adjust from there. Does anyone have any questions? Anything from the back? No? Okay. All right. So let's move on. All right. So how do we learn this information? So following along in training, taking notes, asking questions, being alert during our class time, and reviewing each week and coming prepared. So every ambassador went through rookie training. And of course, every class that I've trained has set the bar even higher and higher. So I expect you guys to do the same. That was very encouraging. All right. So now that we've covered that stuff, so let's talk a little bit more about why we're here for the training. So we're here for training to help new students at orientation. So the information that you're learning here is going to help them. So it's important to understand a new student's perspective in what they may be thinking. So it helps if you get yourself into the mindset of the new student among new surroundings. And right now I'm talking about freshmen. We'll have that conversation a little later. There's going to be a little bit of a shift between what a freshman's going through and what a transfer's going through. But freshman orientations are the first orientations we go through, so that's what I kind of focus on first. But there is going to be a difference between what a freshman's thinking and what a transfer's thinking. So think of some of the academic and non-academic issues that you yourself faced at new student orientation. So can somebody give me an example of what an academic issue would be that could come up at orientation for a new student? Yes?
Why am I already pre-registered for classes?
That's excellent, yes.
Okay.
That's very good, very good.
That's a real thing.
Yes. And that comes up a lot, and it's an issue, yes. Anything else? Any other ideas?
Like, what does my AP credit cover?
Yeah. I took some coursework, spent a lot of time, I worked really hard to get this college credit, and I don't know what it's doing for me. How do I figure that out? Yeah, that's great. Anything else?
Classes they need or want might be full.
Yeah. Yep, I mean, our various departments across campus work really hard to make sure that there's multiple options of classes for students. But yeah, that could come up, especially if a student is in maybe a major where they have a lot of like sciences courses and they really have to arrange things just so. Yeah, that could absolutely come up. Any other examples? Okay. Some other examples could be thinking about, especially for that transfer student who might be in a little bit of a different situation, but for freshmen too, trying to schedule classes around work. You know, thinking how that's all going to work out together can be really overwhelming. Because remember, registration labs are at the end of the day. So they're with you all for the majority of the day, but then they get to the labs at the end of the day. So they've gotten a lot of information all day long, and then they get into the labs. And that can be stressful, thinking about, okay, how do I apply all the information I've learned and get the schedule that I need? Because this is going to need to sustain me for the next 16 to 18 weeks. Okay, any other thoughts on academic issues? Okay. How about some non-academic issues? What could be some non-academic issues that come up for a student? Yes?
They're nervous about making friends.
Absolutely, yeah. What else?
For commuter students specifically, how do you stay connected to campus?
Yeah, that's a great one, yeah. Yes?
If they're an athlete, how to work around like their classes and if they're, you know, going to games across the country and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Any other thoughts? Yes?
Maybe somebody's
That's a great example, yeah. Yes?
What if I haven't paid my fees yet?
Fine, so, yeah, that thing, snapping. I still don't quite understand that. Because I snap a lot, so I get confused. If I just start snapping, is it an appropriate time to snap? It is? Okay, good to know. Yeah, so these were all great examples. I'll just spend a second. So financial issues can be a big thing, right? Especially for that first-time freshman who may have not had to manage that on their own or really even think about that before. Little things like, how do I pay my fees? Might seem little, but to a first-time freshman, that can be a big deal. Being away, a lot of these students, this is their first time away from home. That can be really overwhelming, especially if they're an out-of-state student. I'm from Massachusetts. I came out here as a, well, sort of a teenager, but I came out here to be in the Navy, and I was stationed out here, and I had never been this far west, ever. First time to the West Coast. And I freaked out. I got here, I was like, I don't understand palm trees, like I don't get it. People are really friendly here, I don't get it. Not that people in Massachusetts aren't friendly, but it's just a different approach. And so I could only imagine if I was also going to college, and I didn't, maybe have those friends, and little things like, to a freshman, hey, how do I know where to go to eat? That's a big deal, right? You don't know. How do I know, how do I get to all my classes in time? What if I don't like my roommate? Things like that. So all these things are going to be going through these students' head. And what do you think, just as a guess, what are some of the emotions that are going to be going along with these issues? Yes? Stress, yeah, yes. Anxiety. Yeah, anxiety. Stress, anxiety. Nervous.
Some people might feel lonely.
A little lonely, yeah, sure. Or lonely in general, not little. Yes.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Also excitement. It's not all going to be negative. Let's focus on that too.
Yeah.
Like probably some excitement, like wow, I'm starting the next chapter of my life. Like this is going to be cool. But a lot of different emotions going on, both positive and negative. So you're all going to be kind of managing that on top of the questions that they have. So I'm gonna kind of do a scenario here. So to kind of put yourself in that sort of role or thinking about how you're going to handle it as an orientation leader. So, all right, the scenario is this. Tomorrow you have all right, let's say today. Today you have a midterm, and you really want to hit the gym, and you really want to go get breakfast, and then take a look at your notes before the test. So you go to bed early, you have your gym clothes set out, you're good to go, you missed the alarm. So you slept in, you can't go to the gym, you're barely going to have time to stop at Starbucks for a cup of coffee, you might not have time to look at your notes. What are you feeling? Sad. Sad because you missed your workout? Or breakfast? Well, sad. What other emotions? A little freaked out. A little freaked out. Anything else? Yes. Angry. Oh, angry. Yeah, that too. Okay, angry. Maybe a little, yes.
Well rested.
I love that you're so positive. Yes, well rested.
Well, yeah.
Well rested, but maybe a little anxious because the day hasn't worked out the way you thought it was going to work out. So, you pop into Starbucks. There's a line, so you're sitting in line, you're trying to read over your notes, you're getting more and more anxious. You get to the counter, and now your anxiety level is kind of up there, and it's visible. The person trying to help you can see it. As a customer service individual, what can they do to help you? Yes?
Well, because I did work at Starbucks.
Yes, tell me.
But when I saw that, like, sometimes I would just, like, sometimes when it would happen, it would be people that go there all the time. So